Hi everybody. So sorry about the technical hitch and thanks very much for bearing with us. So I will just start it all again. So last week's community thank you went down very well. I got a lot of positive feedback for our assistance. Hopefully it did make you all feel more valued and appreciated because you really are. You're all doing a fantastic job under very difficult circumstances and it was good to celebrate and acknowledge this. And for our core members, it was lovely to see you all cheering and thanking the assistants, and hopefully you enjoyed the event. You are doing so well yourselves throughout this time. I want to read out a letter of thanks that I've received from Liverpool City Council from Councillor Paul Brandt and the Director of Social Services, Martin Farron. Dear providers, we are writing to express our sincere thanks to all those involved in delivering care across the city of Liverpool. Despite all the challenges, you have stepped up to deliver critical services to the most vulnerable adults, and we are immensely proud of the work achieved to date. Liverpool City Council recognises the significant pressures facing the care market and the devastating effects that have occurred. We have worked collectively to support our colleagues in the NHS, and these efforts have made a huge positive impact to the wider system. You are a valued care market, and we wanted you to know how greatly we appreciate the professionalism, resilience and heartwarming stories that we have heard about, which includes examples such as carers and managers living at the care home to reduce the spread of the virus, carers staying with residents who are end of life in the absence of family members, and staff going above and beyond their role. Domiciliary care staff ensuring vulnerable people have care at that crucial contact with others. The efforts are incredible and are a testament to the social care sector and the people of Liverpool. Thank you for your commitment, Councillor Paul Brandt and Martin Farron. So it is really good to be recognised by our commissioners for the excellent work we do. Now, last week we invited you to join in our virtual Glee club. It went down really, really well. It was so funny and I think everybody enjoyed it all. Paul, Cowan and Michael have decided that it would be good to try a virtual soup and prayers. So we're going to start this hopefully next Monday. You'll be sent an invite by email, so look out for that. And we're also thinking about how to do a virtual game of bingo across the community, so we'll keep you updated on this. Our COVID-19 statistics as of today are 7 staff in isolation, no quarantined. We've got 10 staff off sick with other illnesses. 15 core members are in isolation, but no core members are quarantined. Now, before I go into the relationships feature this week, I thought it would be good to give you some background into me and my story. I realise that there will be a lot of newer assistants who don't know me, and at the moment I'm not able to get around the houses to meet people. Okay, so I've been married to Jed for 31 years. We have 2 children, Michael and Lily. Jed is a learning disabilities nurse. Lily is a special needs teacher, and both me and Michael work here in Larsh. I believe that it was either faith or fate that brought me to Larsh, Liverpool. Working with people with learning difficulties is my chosen career, and I've been doing this for over 44 years. I began working for Liverpool Social Services in January 1976 in Newhall Day Centre in Fazakerley, a day service for adults with learning disabilities, and it was in that centre that I first met a lot of our core members who now live in our supported accommodation. My career in social services was for 23 years, and after a career break of 3 years when I was at home with my children, I returned to the independent sector where I worked for 3 different providers before coming to Larsh in November 2013. I can't really say why I applied for Larsh. I wasn't particularly looking to change jobs, but I did see the community leader post advertised in The Guardian. And at a providers forum, I just happened to be sitting next to Phil, who was the community leader then of Larsh, and I just asked him what the role was. The meeting that we were in was in the Devonshire House, which is just round the corner from here, and Phil invited me to look around Larsh after the meeting. So he initially took me to the harbour, and how surprised was I to meet Sue, Ros and Maria, who I'd initially known from my very early days in social services, and I felt like then it was meant to be, so I applied for the job. Once I was in post, in my induction period, I got to meet all of our core members, and to my amazement, I knew almost everyone from past services, whether it was Newhall, Fairfield, Holt Hall or other supported accommodation services. We were all much younger then, but most people did remember me. I was particularly close to Linda, who now lives in Fountain Court. We used to go youth hosteling together with a group of others. Joan Lavery was also on those trips. Now she'd passed away by the time I came to Larsh, but Joan is still remembered and talked about. And whilst I've heard lots of amusing stories about Joan, I've certainly been able to tell some of my own. I worked very closely with Paul Smith. Paul sadly passed away whilst I was here. I recall going to a This Is Your Life celebration for Paul when he was quite poorly, and all of his family and friends were there to address him. And during this event there was a screen with lots of photographs of Paul and various people over the years. And to my surprise, there was a photo of me and Paul taken at a party when we were both in Newhall. It was taken in 1980 when I was just 23, and Paul had a glass of whisky in his hand, which he used to call holy water. I was also very close to Sue from the harbour. We started around the same time in Newhall, we're the same age. In fact, Sue is 3 months older than me. Sue is still in touch with some of my friends whom she sees at True Colours, a crafts centre set up and run by a group of volunteers who used to work in social services. Herbert I knew from Fairfield. He was still living with his dad at the time. And whilst I was looking through some old photographs a couple of years ago, I found one of Herbert sitting with some friends when we were in Fairfield. I passed it on to Herb, and I believe he still has it pinned up to his wall at home. I will have been in Larsh 7 years this November, and I have every intention of finishing my career here. I'm looking forward to retirement, but not quite yet. I've had a long and varied career travelling all over the country, but I have truly found my place and sense of belonging in Larsh, Liverpool, as I hope you have too. Thank you for listening to my story. And now, our relationships feature this week is about Brian and Gora, and Gora has written their story, which I'll read out. Brian and I first met in the 1980s when Brian was a pupil in my class at Milstead School in Olive Mount Hospital. Then Brian moved to the Coracle and began his life in the Larsh community, and soon afterwards he left school. From those early days, I went weekly to visit Brian with his great friend Georgina, and we shared many wonderful times together. It's hard to put into words what friendship with Brian means to me. He is such an integral part of my life, and over the years we've shared so many good times together and also some hard times. Brian gave me my second name after my family name of Mer, and most people now know me as Goramak. He has shared with me so many significant milestones in my life. He read the bidding prayers at our wedding when I married Ray. He was a great comfort to me when my dad died, and he was there at my retirement celebrations. I loved the time I spent with Brian on a Monday night, and since Georgina's death, we now spend a lot of time looking at photographs and singing. Since the lockdown, obviously we've not been able to meet on a Monday, and this has been hard, but the assistants, particularly Alphonse, have been amazing in enabling Brian and I to keep in touch. For those of you who know me, I have a basic phone that I can speak on and do text, but that thanks to Brian, I've learnt a new skill and can now do screen WhatsApp conversations with Brian on Ray's phone and see and speak to him. It's great. It means a great deal to me to be able to have regular contact with Brian in this way during these hard times, so thank you. And can I also say to Anya and all of the assistants how grateful I am to you all for the great care, support and friendship you give to Brian. Your loyalty and commitment is outstanding. Thank you and take care. So that is a genuine friendship that's lasted many years. How lovely. Now we're going to take a 10-minute break where you can think of any questions that you want to ask me or any messages you want to put out there. I'll be back to try and answer them, or I'll certainly put your messages out. Hello again. So no questions to answer, but just a couple of shout outs. So Stephen Green Lane rang up and he wants to thank everybody in the team he works with for being great, for working extra hours and for all of their hard work. So a shout out to the team at Green Lane. A shout out to Dave from St Sebastian's, who said he would be watching today. So hope you are, David. Hi to you. And then finally, a thanks to Peter, who is the new addition to our tech team. So he's going to be joining in with us on our weekly broadcasts. Next week's our relationship feature will be about Julia, Colin and baby Michael. Now before we finish, we have some lovely photos to show you from the harbour over the Easter period. So that is all for this week. Thank you everybody.